The night started quietly, the kind of ordinary evening that doesn't feel important until later, when you replay it over and over in your head. I remember leaning back on the couch, half lost in the glow of the TV, half aware of the familiar pull between us. At some point, I told my girlfriend I was in the mood, said it casually, almost playfully, the way couples do when they assume they're on the same wavelength. She looked at me and said she just needed half an hour. Nothing dramatic, just half. An hour, I nodded, trying to be easy about it, telling myself it was no big deal. That wanting different timing didn't mean rejection, so I waited. At first, the waiting felt normal. I scrolled on my phone, half-watched the show, told myself I was being respectful. 30 minutes passed, then 45, then an hour. When I finally checked in, it wasn't accusatory. It was hesitant, careful. I asked if she was feeling up to it yet. She said she was busy. The word busy landed strangely, vague and closed off, but I didn't push. I told myself this was what respecting her looked like, so I backed off and went back to my own thing, pretending it didn't bother me. Another hour went by. The house felt quieter somehow, heavier. My thoughts started looping. Was she actually busy or just not in the mood? Did I do something wrong earlier? I didn't want to assume. I didn't want to pressure her. She had asked me to check in, so that's what I was doing, even though each time felt a little more awkward than the last. When I went back to her again, I was honest about how I was feeling. I told her I was still in the mood and asked if everything was good. She said yes, but told me to give her more time. I remember sitting back down, trying to relax, but my body and my mind weren't on the same page anymore. The desire was still there, but it was tangled up with uncertainty now. I kept telling myself to be patient, to not make this about me. I stared at the TV, but I couldn't follow the plot. Every few minutes, I checked the time without meaning to. I hated that about myself in that moment. Hated feeling like I was waiting for permission to want something by the time another hour passed. Something had shifted inside me when she finally came up to me. Suddenly affectionate, suddenly ready. It felt abrupt, like she'd flipped a switch without realizing how long the room had been dark. She tried to get close, tried to restart the moment as if it had just been paused, but it didn't feel paused to me. It felt gone. I told her I didn't want to anymore. Even as I said it, I felt a knot in my chest, like I was doing something wrong. She looked surprised, then hurt, then pouty. She asked, "Are you sure?" In that tone that made it sound less like a question and more like a challenge. When I didn't change my answer, she got upset. That's when the confusion really hit me. I'd waited for hours. I'd checked in because she asked me to. I'd tried to respect her space, and now I was the bad guy for not being instantly ready the second she was. I tried to explain myself, stumbling over my words. I told her that waiting so long made me feel like I was begging for sex, like my desire had slowly turned into something embarrassing. I admitted that now I felt like the asshole for saying no, even though I was the one who'd been patient for over 3 hours. Saying it out loud made my throat tighten. I didn't want to sound dramatic, but that was honestly how it felt. She got mad when I said that, the room filled with tension, the kind that doesn't explode right away, but sits there, sharp and uncomfortable. I tried again, softer this time. I told her I didn't want to come off as some kind of desperate guy, that I'd moved on mentally, that I just wanted to finish my TV show because the moment had passed. Not paused, passed. She didn't argue back. Instead, she went quiet. That silence hurt more than if she'd yelled. She just turned and walked away, leaving me sitting there with the TV still playing. The laughter track suddenly feeling cruelly out of place. I stared at the screen, but all I could think about was how wrong everything felt. Later, when I replayed it in my head, the doubts crept in. Maybe I should have just gone along with it. Maybe that's what I was supposed to do. But another part of me pushed back against that idea. Why should I have to jump at sex in a heartbeat after being told no? Especially when I was trying to respect her and do exactly what she asked. Why did my desire suddenly become invalid just because the timing no longer matched hers? I realized afterward that part of the confusion came from mixed signals. She had asked me to check in with her, and each time I did, I took her answers seriously. I wasn't trying to pressure her. I wasn't trying to guilt her. I was trying to navigate that blurry line between wanting someone and respecting their boundaries. Somewhere along the way, that line turned into resentment on both sides, even if neither of us meant it to. Sitting alone with those thoughts, I didn't feel angry as much as I felt unsettled. I wondered how something so small could leave such a heavy feeling behind. It wasn't really about sex anymore. It was about timing, communication, and the quiet fear of feeling unwanted or misunderstood by someone you care about. There was no clear villain in the story, no dramatic ending. Just two people missing each other emotionally by a few hours and not knowing how to talk about it without getting hurt. Even now, I'm not sure what the right answer was. I only know how it felt in that moment and how easily respect and desire can collide in ways that leave both people feeling rejected. How do you balance patience with your own boundaries in a relationship? And when does waiting stop being respectful and start feeling like you're losing yourself?